Justin Kirkland sees a promotion in the lineup as Kevin Rooney returns, and just what else might be shaken up here on Locked On Flames.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Today, we're going to be talking about all the updates that we got this morning at practice, and it's quite a lot, so we have some stuff to unpack and look forward to, as well as what the Flames can do to ensure they skate away with a win tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes, and Blake Coleman's comments about this being one of the best, if not the best, locker rooms that he has played in his career. All that and more on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. And it is not a secret that Kevin Rooney is coming back to the game tonight. He will be slotting in on the fourth line, and Justin Kirkland moves up to the third line with Huberdeau and Mantha. And this means that Martin Pospisil is going back to wing, which I did mention earlier this week about being a possibility when these lineup changes occur. And based on his performance Tuesday night against the Penguins, I would assume that he's going to be held on a shorter leash. So while he is going to be, I believe it will be the second line, I don't think that we need to um give him more wiggle room than Huska necessarily was before. I think while this is a promotion, it's also kind of necessary in order to make the lineup work. And I hope that Pospisil took that benching as, a real wake up call, because I don't, it's not going to work if he doesn't understand what he needs to do to stay out of the penalty box, where he's too old for this. I get it's only his second year in the NHL, but like the Flames are giving up too many power play goals and their penalty kill is not what it once was. So let's, not go to the penalty box. But it does sound like Sharon Govich is coming back relatively soon as well. He skated for the first time with the group today. He has not played a single game. He got injured in the final preseason game and has been on the mend since. So, that's great. I'm really excited to, see him make his way back. And Sam Honzik, they're both upgraded, I guess upgraded to day-to-day, which is very encouraging, very promising, which likely means there are going to be some very big lineup changes coming. And I know it's very easy to say, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you have to have Sharon Govich in your lineup. He just signed that extension. It was the team's leading scorer last year. He has earned a spot in this lineup, and it doesn't make sense to keep him out longer than he has to be out. There are expendable pieces in this lineup that you can, shuffle around or reassign to the AHL if necessary. And I think that you may have some pieces that are looking at that. And we'll talk more about that probably tomorrow's show. But tonight, Dan Vladar starts in net at home for the first time this season, and he only started played 8 games at home last year, and surprise, he had a losing record. So I really have a difficult time really putting much stock into his appearances last season, mainly because he was hurt, but also he was starting few and far between, so, like, he wasn't able to get that momentum, and I think he's kind of found that rhythm and that momentum now. It seems to be working pretty well with the every other night situation, and I don't hate it. I think that this really does give the opportunity for both of them to get a fair start and a fair shake of things. So, tonight's his first night at home to start the season, or first home appearance this season. And I I'm assuming it's gonna go as well as it has on the road. I don't I think I feel like this isn't like a situational scenario. I don't think, if he say the Flames do lose tonight, I don't think it's because Dan Vladar started over Dustin Wolf at home or anything like that. It's probably because, well, they're kind of due for a loss if you think about it. But in all seriousness, the Flames are getting the most out of their goaltending. And that's not something a lot of people expected or anticipated because of how inexperienced the tandem is. And I'm looking forward to watching these 2 for the season. I think that the Flames will eventually get some calls on Dan Vladar, and ultimately that is up to them how they want to go about that, especially where he is on an expiring contract, and we don't know what the plan looks like there. But we're going to talk about getting under the the Hurricanes skin tonight at the Saddle Dome as the Flames take on the Hurricanes next on Locked On Flames. All right, Flames fans, if you are looking to cash in big, you are going to want to go over to FanDuel. It is time to start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play by play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Tonight, why don't you bet the over? I think that it's going to be a fun offensive night for both teams. So, heck yeah, go Flames go. And you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That is fanduel.com. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts as well as YouTube. We're here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your team every day. The Hurricanes. This team has always, okay, I shouldn't say always bugged me. But in the last 5, 6 years, this team has gotten under my skin. Whether it be, because they're actually competitive, um, or because Rod Brindamore is behind the bench crying and throwing a tantrum. They just bother me. And I was looking at their stats this ahead of tonight's game, and they already have 4 power play goals. And do you know what the Flames really, really, really like doing? Yeah. So we need to keep the Flames out of the penalty box. Shane Gostisbehere leads the team with 3 power play goals. So, if there's an opportunity, he's going to cash in. And I really hope that the Flames are prepared to, you know, not do that. They need to play a well-styled, disciplined game of hockey. It can't just be a free for all out there. You need to keep your emotions in check. You need to keep your sticks where they belong. No slashing, no high stickings, any avoidable penalty like cross-checking, let's say, or interference. Please check that baggage at the door. We don't need that tonight. We don't need it any night, but especially against a team that has a very good penalty power play rather. They are coming off an overtime win against Edmonton, so you know that they're just like the Flames in terms of being ready and, not taking their foot off the gas when it matters. So, I think the Flames are gonna have a good matchup there. They do have, PK in net tonight, so I know that he is still a relatively young, inexperienced NHL goaltender, so maybe the Flames can take advantage of that. I just really want to see. I know embellishing is wrong. I know, and I know it's technically a penalty, but, like, nothing gets the Canes all riled up quite like a penalty being called on them, sending them to the penalty box. You would think that you just stole their puppy from their doorstep, the way that Rod Brindamore acts. Like, it is just something so heinous and so sinful. But I think the Flames need to take advantage of that tonight. Just do it. Get under their skin. They were the least penalized team throughout the regular season and postseason last year up until they played the Rangers, and the Rangers, like, got severely under their skin. So if they can do that in a several game series, I'm more than certain the Flames can just do that in one night as well. I Martin Pospisil, I think, is gonna be a real pest for them, but in the sense of he's going to just agitate them and make them react and get a reaction out of them. Um, this is just the perfect opportunity to manipulate the system, I guess, in their favor. And really, if you not that I doubt the Flames' offensive performance, because I think that that's fine. But if you can take advantage of the system and find another weakness and manipulate that weakness into your favor, why not take advantage of it? The Flames power play, still pretty good. They didn't capitalize on it at all last game or the game before, I believe. So, maybe tonight's the night you find that again. Maybe we see a Jonathan Huberdeau power play goal, or maybe we see another Mackenzie Weegar power play goal. Who knows? But I think it is imperative of the Flames to take advantage of how emotional this team gets when things don't go their way. And Canes fans, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but that is just how the cookie crumbles and how someone that has played and watched your team many a times in the regular and postseason feels. I tonight, I really want to see more from Connor Zary. I think that he's been a little quiet. Like he's always there when you need him to be. Like he's in the right spot, but it's just a matter of him finishing. I'm a big fan of his net front presence. I think that that is going to be a must. Um, it has to be a thing moving forward. I don't know what it's his assignment. He needs to play in front of the net. He needs to be right there. He needs to be able to finish it. And I think he does a good job. Like if you watch his goals from last season, you see the same thing there. You see that is a consistent spot where he'll score. And there have been some very good chances this year as well, but we just haven't seen a lot of it. And that's fine. There's a lot to go around. I do kind of wonder if they move him off of the Backlund and Coleman line. I think that he needs to be on a line with a little bit more speed. Um, and there's a lot of different ways that you can construct these lines and make them, you know, what seems the most optimal, but it comes at the expense of taking someone out. And typically these are players you aren't taking out unless they're injured. And I don't think the Flames, this is just me talking. This is not me saying the Flames should do this. This is not me like advocating for it. But I think you could put Zeri at center with Coleman and Pospisil on his wing. But the only way that's happening is if you take out Michael Backlund, and that's just not happening. So I think this is gonna be another opportunity for Huska to get creative, especially with these returning players. I'm interested in really seeing, once everyone's at full health, what does this team look like? What do the lines look like? What does, the roster look like? Who's playing where? And what can we expect from them? Because it's a whole different ball game when you are looking at a fully healthy roster. And you're hoping it's the same level of competitiveness, but could we be looking at a weaker roster? I don't know, potentially. But coming up next, we're going to wrap up the show with some Blake Coleman tidbits because boy, oh boy, did he let this message be heard loud and clear. If you are like me, you love going to live events, whether it's concerts, theater events, comedy shows, and of course, sporting events. You need to have the Game Time app on your phone. And I'm not even kidding you. I got fantastic seats for the Battle of Alberta or no, I guess technically almost 2 weeks ago now. Thanks to Game Time in their new feature called Game Time Picks. It filters out all of the fluff, so you just find the great seats at the great prices that you want without having to search too hard for them. I will absolutely be using Game Time again, especially if I do go back out to Calgary. That will be what I use. Or, hey, there's Kelsey Ballerini's going on tour. Maybe I will snag tickets on Game Time for a show, for one of her shows as well. Game Time Picks is the curation that makes it easier to save more on concerts, comedy, and theater. And you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, so you don't have to worry about an obstructed view or what it's going to look like when you get there. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. And of course, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in rewarded winnings, Prize Picks makes daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Game Picks. Prize Picks. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my pick hits, I can get my money as quick and easy as 15 minutes. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money on sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead up to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discount selects player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for today's lineups. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is Locked On NHL on the Prize Picks app today. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. I hope you're having a great week. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. I am using Twitter to cite this source here, or this quote rather, from Blake Coleman. It was Salim Valji who tweeted it uh, last night. Or I'm sorry, it was yesterday rather, not last night. He asked Blake Coleman about the locker room, and this is what Blake Coleman had to say. It's a really good locker room. It's one of the best I've had in my career as far as guys that have bought in and want to play and want to pay the price. There's no agendas this year. It's just hockey, and let's play together and let's be tough to play against. The shade. But I think he's earned every right to be shady. That's not even shady. I mean, it is. But, he's right. There are no agendas this year. Everyone's going out there to play. Players that are playing right now want to be here. And that's the most important thing. There's no one, running to their agent and saying, I don't want to be here. Why hasn't a contract been offered to me? They only think I'm worth this. What am I doing? Or, rejecting an 8-year, $9 million contract extension. Like, there's none of that. There's no drama following the locker room. This team wants to play. They want to play, and they want to play well. Yeah. And it's so important to have good morale in like any work environment. And I think, if you've worked in a poor work environment where the morale is low, you absolutely know how difficult it is to come to work and try to be in a good mood and be, the best version of yourself at your 9 to 5. It is very difficult. And I think the same kind of goes here as well. There's been guys who said, I have to remind myself that playing hockey is fun and that I enjoy playing hockey. That's tough. That is very tough because, this is supposed to be fun. While it's a form of entertainment for us, this is someone's dream and this is what they've worked their whole life for. And when it stops being fun, then, you have to look at the bigger picture and see what else is going on. I really liked the part where he said, they're willing to pay the price. To me, that means like taking the lumps that come along with maybe not being the most competitive team and going through a rebuild tool transition period time. I don't know what the Flames are. And that's I don't need to know yet. There are still like 6 months of hockey left. They don't need to figure it out. I don't need to know until like December. Maybe January, New Year's resolution. I think that there is far too much hockey ahead to place a label on this team, whether they're contenders, whether they are a fringe playoff team or if they're basement dwellers. Did I have them projected as basement dwellers? Yeah, absolutely. Can that still happen? Yes, because there's a lot of time left. Could they also just be really good this year and be a playoff team? Yes, absolutely. Why? Because there's so much hockey left. There's no way of telling what your team is in the month of October. Because you can get off think of our neighbors to the north last year and how they went on that 19-game losing streak and then made it to the Stanley Cup final. They ultimately lost. Of course, they lost. Don't ever let them forget that. They lost in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. But they still, came back from that and clawed themselves out of it and went to the Cup final. You can be a bad team in November and still make it to the playoffs. It's just about getting there. And I think that the Flames are a team that are fully aware of that. And they've made it very clear that they don't take what, like, the outside noise is there, but they're not doing, like, they aren't feeding into it. What they do isn't because of it. And I think that, even if they say, like, "Yeah, people doubt us," it's not something that they dwell on. They've really made it clear that, like, it fuels them, but it's not something they're constantly listening to. Like, they know what's out there, they know what people are saying, they know what people have said, but at the end of the day, they're here to win games. And I think that's good, because if you are just blocking everything out and not listening to people, then I would like, it's just, that's unhealthy. You need some sort of some sort of motivating factor and feedback. But being selective about the noise you let in is also very good too. So go Flames go. I hope you all have a fantastic evening, and we will be back tomorrow to discuss tonight's game against the Carolina Hurricanes, as well as upcoming games over the weekend and what might be around the corner for this lineup. But remember to subscribe and make Locked On Flames your first listen of the day, and I'll see you later.